Dear Garuda Indonesia, please don't sue me. Today, we're going to check out the full Garuda experience and find out why my desire to fly them has been less than enthusiastic. So let's get into it. Welcome to Bali. If you'd like to know the exact fare that I paid for my flight or my next 5 videos in queue, please check out the description below. And if you're new here, hi there and welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin. I think that the world needs a bit more honest travel content these days, so I make airline trip reports, high-end hotel reviews, and cruise ship tours as well, all without invitation. I always film without the company's knowledge and self-fund my trips to be sure I get a true experience. Then, I give you nothing more than my own personal, honest, unbiased opinion. So let me say off the bat, yes, it is a dramatic opening, and yes, it's referencing something that happened 4 years ago, which I will explain, but history has a habit of repeating itself at Garuda, so it's not exactly a baseless concern. We'll get into all of that, but first let's actually get to the airport. Word to the wise, Bali is a maze of traffic. If you're coming to the airport from just about anywhere north of it, make sure you plan plenty of time. If you're coming from Canggu, I'll pray for you. I've had 20-mile drives take over 2 hours, multiple times. Anyway, here we are at the slightly basic entrance to the domestic terminal. Basic specifically compared to how beautiful the international terminal entrance is. Today is just a short repositioning flight. I have a Cathay Pacific flight leaving from Jakarta tonight on a separate ticket. So I chose Garuda to get me to Jakarta, since in 2022, Garuda was the world's most punctual airline, with almost 96% of flights arriving on time or early. That's quite a feat. Oh, and also, because this specific flight, out of their 9 or so daily flights to Jakarta, was meant to be operated by a 777. Score. Check-in was quick and I got to the counter right away. But it was a bit confusing since I seem to have more knowledge about the aircraft operating the flight than the check-in agent did. So, it was supposed to be a 777. That got changed a few weeks out to a 737. It happens, I don't hold that against the airline. When the aircraft was changed, I was reassigned to an aisle seat. On the website, I changed it back to a window seat, no problem. Then the day before departure, our aircraft was changed to a CityLink A320. CityLink being their low-cost subsidiary. I had a standard window seat, but CityLink has a brutal 28 inches of pitch. I tried to get an exit row, no dice. The morning of our flight, it was changed back to a Garuda 737. Fantastic. Except, I was assigned one of the 2 window seats on board that didn't actually have a window. So at check-in, I was trying to get literally any other window seat. But since the agent didn't really understand, or perhaps care, that I wanted a window at my window seat, it was all just a bit of a faff. But in the end, I got it done. So as we walk through the terminal and do a bit of plane spotting, let's talk about wonderful Garuda Indonesia. The predecessor of their predecessor was Royal Dutch Indies Airways, formed in 1928. That changed to KLM, Interinsular Air Services, in 1947, and that was nationalized in 1949. With the government rebranding the airline as Garuda Indonesia. Garuda referencing the half-bird, half-man deity, which serves Vishnu in the Hindu tradition. Super fast forward to 1990, and they had an impressive fleet of 747s, A300s, DC-10s, MD-11s, and 737s. Flying to the likes of Honolulu, LA, Cairo, Johannesburg, Paris, Rome, London, Frankfurt, you get the picture. After 2 aircraft incidents in 1997, combined with the Asian financial crisis, they saw a drastic reduction in performance. Over the coming years, September 11th, the Bali bombings, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, and the SARS outbreak really did them in, leading to a drop in standards which had the EU ban all Indonesian aircraft from 2007 until 2009, following what was thought to be a preventable plane crash. Side note, the Concordia Lounge here, holy crap, do not waste your time. It was like walking into a steam room and the place just reeked of old cooking oil. So when the European ban was lifted, the internal Quantum Leap program was launched to overhaul the airline's image, create a new livery and uniforms, double the size of the fleet, and add 50% more destinations. And for quite a few years in the 2010s, it seemed to be really working. Right around the time when YouTube and trip reports were first beginning to become an actual thing, Garuda was by that point well known for two things. First, they had one of the best crews on Earth. And second, truly one of the more spectacular first-class products at the time. I remember watching trip reports back then with the creator talking about how they could call Garuda in advance of your flight and literally request any meal, and it would be made available for you on board. That's a level of service that, still to this day, I've never heard of any airline ever doing. So, as usual, things were pretty good until they weren't. Later in the 2010s, standards began to drop, and this all culminated in 2019 when YouTube content creator Rius Fernandez shared a video clip on Instagram of his flight from Sydney to Denpasar in business class. There were no printed menus on board, and so he was handed a handwritten menu that you could see here. He posted this menu and received an apology from Garuda. But then they got defensive and questioned how the passenger got their hands on this menu, saying that it should have been for internal use only. Then, Garuda sued him and his girlfriend, who appeared in the original video, for defamation. They also did whatever the Indonesian equivalent of trying to press charges is. Defamation in Indonesia, by the way, has a punishment of up to 4 years in prison. Fun times. Very soon after, internal memos were leaked from Garuda detailing the instructions for cabin crew to completely ban the usage of all photography on board, including photography and videography, essentially including selfies, and to quote-unquote use language with passengers that is assertive in conveying the passenger ban. Even in the memo, written in Bahasa, the specific English word assertive was used. Anywho, as you would expect, this set the internet on fire, and they very quickly backtracked and eventually dropped the lawsuit. Can we take note for a moment of how many staff are working at this gate? There are 9 staff here in the video, plus a couple in the jet bridge, for a 737 flight. And not one of them cared to give a reason as to why our takeoff time had already passed, and we hadn't even boarded yet. At 3:55, we did begin boarding, which was, with the 12 gate and jet bridge staff, done pretty quickly. Within 10 to 15 minutes, the door was closed. As for today's flight stats, we took off over 90 minutes late for our 90-minute flight to Jakarta, landing 66 minutes behind schedule. So, as if the lawsuit wasn't enough, in the same year, the CEO of the airline was arrested for smuggling a Harley-Davidson into the country in one of their brand new A330neo deliveries. And then, there's an entirely separate prostitution scandal, which is a rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down. But allegedly, 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 the former vice president of cabin attendants was the primary pimp. Lovely. By the way, there's the windowless seat that I was meant to have. And you know, in 2021, the airline almost collapsed with $9.8 billion in debt, and in 2022, they filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection in the US. There's also a scandal currently going on about alleged illegal purchases of CRJs and ART aircraft. I mean, honestly, it just doesn't end. But this report will, so let's move the hell on. Here we are. I've always thought that brown and turquoise was an interesting choice for onboard colors, and that opinion stands. The seats, not being new slimline versions, are actually really comfortable and well padded with an adjustable headrest and a decent amount of legroom. And they've got some snazzy tech integrated into the arms as well. Each seat had a pair of headphones in the pocket, and mints were passed out, likely to counteract all of the sweating that was about to begin. The safety video began which had a few cringy, ironic moments like this one, and then we pushed back, but then we stopped. We stopped and we stayed there. We didn't move. The auxiliary power unit was already disconnected, so there was no AC. Keep in mind, the aircraft was very warm as we stepped on to begin with. After a while, air did begin to flow from the individual air vents, but it was so hot that I had to close the vent as it started to make me nauseous. Around 55 minutes passed, with zero explanation, and the temperature just kept rising, until literally the forearm of myself and the guy next to me were sticking together. And then suddenly on we went. I remember specifically, the air finally started to cool off as we crossed over Java. We lined up for a very uncomfortable takeoff to the due west. The spool up, takeoff, and airport stats are coming up next. Our route took us up to the north of Java, where we remained for the remainder of the flight. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, Garuda flies to 51 destinations with their 73 aircraft on hand, many of which you'll see as we land in Jakarta seem to still be in storage. They also have a further 46 on order, but I suspect that may change in the coming years. I wasn't really sure what to expect service-wise today. For a moment, I did actually wonder if that mint was the extent of the service. Before the dinner was served, let's take a look at the onboard entertainment. It left a little bit to be desired. I'm not sure if this was just the assortment for domestic flights or not. I hope it was. Meal choices were chicken or fish, and it was thoroughly a tasty meal. Served alongside some pickled vegetables, rice, and a prepackaged snack mix. There was also a standard selection of drink choices on offer. As we approached Jakarta, I breathed a sigh of relief, truly ready to get off this plane. Interesting fact, hard to believe I know considering the content that I create, but I'm actually a fair bit claustrophobic, which is exacerbated by heat. So I literally wanted to run off of this plane. That's also why you won't likely see too many ultra long-haul economy flights on this channel. Enjoy the landing and arrival airport stats with a pretty clear view of Jakarta in the distance. So, where do I begin? Honestly, if we take away the unexplained delay, it wasn't a bad flight. As I've said in reviews in the past, I normally don't hold delays of an hour or less against an airline if it's just a one-off, and explained. But today, it was the extreme temperatures on board and the complete lack of communication that influenced this score more than anything else. Otherwise, it's a fairly comfortable product and a tasty meal. If Garuda could just get their act together, then maybe they'd be able to compete on the world stage again in the future. but whether or not that's possible is to be seen. Now, I'm going to wait about 5 hours for this next bird to arrive. I really do hope that you enjoyed this trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. I'll see you next time at the wonderful Alila Seminyak in Bali. Oh, and thanks for watching until the end.